Step 2 is optional. This is going to be Peltex. You can use batting, you can use some kind of a shape form. There's all different types of brands, but we're using Peltex 70. This is what makes the ornament firm. It's not required. It's an extra step, and I put that in the instructions for step 2. This step will go around twice, and it's going to secure the Pelon to the water-soluble stabilizer, the wash away, and we're going to then trim after this step. Peltex can be tricky. It might cut the stitches, but just try to get as close as you possibly can to the edge line. This is done inside the actual ornament. It's not on the edge, so it's important to get close to that stitch line, so that way when the white leather goes on top, it's not going to bunch up or make any issues with your machine. All right, this is the final result there. As you see, it got really close all the way around the edge. There's still a little bit of a lip there. That's where the white leather is going to get tacked down. We're going to place the white leather and tape that in place. So this is step 3, and it is now going around the ornament twice because we're going to be trimming this as well. Anytime it has to be tacked down, there's going to be a double stitch. This is step 3. You can check by the thread colors on your machine there. It tells you the number of threads total. So now on the leather, this is a bit easier to cut than the Peltex. You just get as close as you can. If you keep your scissors flat, it's a neat trick to be able to keep it flat with the hoop. Instead of going like this, it helps make the trimming a lot easier. And pull back on the leather as you're trimming. It gives it some good tension there. You could always go back for the little small pieces to snip it. So it looks pretty good there. I'm probably just going to get a couple more little snips right here. And that looks good. So step 4 just involves us placing this on top. There is no placement stitch. This is actually just straight to tack down on here. Since it's meant to be in this one exact spot, it didn't really need a placement stitch. So we're just going to tape this in place, and we're going to let this stitch out. So if you see on your machine, my machine shows that there's openings there, so that's step 4. And all my color changes and steps correspond to the colors on your machine. So we're on step 4. This is step 4 here of colors, and it is currently stitching each of the individual pinwheels. So it will skip to the next pinwheel, and it won't stitch here. So it'll make an opening, so we'll be able to cut. Now I did change the thread to white just so you can kind of see where it's stitched, but it did not stitch here, here, or here. This keeps it to where we can now take our scissors and cut around it. So as we're cutting here, try to get as close to the stitch line as possible, so that way when the satin comes around, it gives you a nice polished edge. And it's going to be every other one, so the ones that are tacked down don't get trimmed out. And each time with cutting, keep moving the hoop with you so that you're not having to reach around. I do find that a lot of problems in my classes that the students don't always move the hoop, and it makes it harder to cut. So I try to make it as easy as possible where the hoop moves, I don't. didn't get a very good cut on that edge there, so I'll go back and get that. So as I was saying, I didn't get this edge completely right here. I'd get that a little bit closer. So now all our applique is done. Now we're gonna either put white or red thread, whatever you prefer, because it's gonna now stitch on the white part here. So now we are on step 5, and step 5 is stitching the decorative stitch right directly onto the peppermint. And now for step 6, it's stitching the spiral of all the reds inside the pinwheel. It's not stitching the outer part, that'll be done on the last step. So right now it's going to be doing the underlay stitch for the satin, and depending on how close you get to the stitch here is going to determine how good the satin will cover it. Alright, once you flip your hoop to the back, you then take your white leather and you're going to place that over the back side of the ornament. You're going to tape that in place to secure it to the back of the hoop. Flip it over to the front, and I just gently press down here, make sure the tape is sticking. And it covers the whole ornament, so we're good to go. And this is step 7 of 8, and what this is doing another circle around the edge, and it is tacking the backing down to the ornament. Now that we've finished the back side, we just take the tape off and again trim to the edge. Get as closest to the stitch line as you can. This is going to determine if the ornament is going to have nice clean edges. So cutting close is required. And that's the back side now of the ornament. And this is the front. So now we're going to take it back to the machine and do the final step. The first part of the final step is it's going to stitch the built-in hook for the ornament. And this is step 8 of 8, so we know we're on the last part. It's doing the satin stitch all the way around. Also very important in this step and on any of my ornaments is make sure the bobbin and the top thread are the same, because it will show through on both sides. You need to have matching bobbin and matching top thread. There's a lot of underlay on this step because it's got to cover a lot of different parts, so it takes a little while before it actually gets to the true satin of the stitch. So now the ornament's all done. You're going to flip it over to the back side. There's a couple threads that you just need to trim up here, and you're all set. You can run this under the sink with water, or you could take a Q-tip, which is what I recommend, and it'll pop right out, and you're all set to go. And this is what it looks like when you wash it out with a Q-tip. And that's the finished ornament.